Hello guys, we'll learn about the past tense and the past continuous tense in this lesson. Let's start. Now let's learn how to make the past tense in Korean. More specifically, the past simple tense with the honorific suffix yo. But you can simply call it the past tense, no problem. This one is easy to learn because it works the same way the present simple tense works. You can basically think there are 3 rules just like the rules of the present simple tense. Rule number 1. When the last letter of the stem has the yang vowel, a or o, you add what I call the past tense indicator, at, with the same yang vowel, a, to the stem, and add the ending, oyo, at the end. Or you can simply think you add the entire assoyo to the stem to put it in the past tense. Of course, at-oyo is pronounced assoyo. Sound the linking rule, right? Rule number 2. When the last letter of the stem has other vowels, you add the past tense indicator ot with a o vowel to the stem and add the ending oyo at the end. Or you can simply think you add the entire ossoyo to the stem to put it in the past tense. Rule number 3. When the last letter of the stem ends in the ha sound, you turn the ha sound into he sound and add the past tense indicator ot. Then he and ot sounds are combined together and make het sound. And you add the ending oyo. So it's 했어요. Of course, you could just think you use the entire 했어요 as an ending instead of the last letter of the stem, ha sound. It was 해요 in the present simple tense, right? Now it's 했어요 in the past tense. And please don't forget, at, ot, het sounds are what I call the past tense indicators, and that's what puts the stem in the past tense. The past tense in Korean is slightly different from that of English. In Korean, of course, the past tense can be used to indicate something happened in the past when you talk about a completed action. But in Korean, the past tense can also be used to indicate something happened in the past and its state continues. Probably you don't get the clear picture of what it exactly means. I'll give you an example. When you say, I sat on a chair in English, it means you sat there in the past and the action was completed. But in Korean, if you say, I sat on a chair, it can also mean I'm still sitting there. The action of sitting happened in the past and its state continues. Do you briefly get it? That's enough for now. I'm not saying it always means that, but it can mean that in the right context and the situation. Now let's see some examples together. The base form of the verb to sleep is 자다 in Korean. The stem is 자. 자 has the yang vowel a. You want to put it in the past tense with the honorific suffix 요. Then you add asso요 to the stem. 자 asso요. But you need to apply the same rule that you applied to the present simple tense. When there is no final consonant in the last letter of the stem, you need to combine the last letter of the stem with the past tense indicator at or ot sound. So the 자 sound and the at sound should combine together and it becomes one 잣 sound. Make sense? Great. Next, the base form of the verb to come in Korean is 오다. The stem is 오 with O vowel. So you need to add asso요 again. Because the O sound doesn't have a final consonant, you should try to combine the O sound with the at sound and it becomes what sound. What. The same thing you saw when you tried with the present simple examples. Next, the base form of the verb to meet in Korean is 만나다. 만나 is the stem. What is the last letter of the stem? Yes, the na sound, which has a vowel. So you need to add assoyo. Needless to say, the na and at sound should combine together, and it makes the one syllable letter not. So it's not 만나 assoyo, but it's 만났어요. Next, the base form of the verb to go in Korean is 가다. The stem is 가, which has the yang vowel a. So you need to add assoyo. The 가 sound doesn't have a final consonant, so you need to combine the 가 sound with at sound together, and it becomes one syllable 갓 sound. So it's not 가 assoyo, but it's 갔어요. Let's see some examples with other vowels in the last letter of the stem. The base form of the verb to eat in Korean is 먹다. The stem is 먹. Because the last letter of the stem, 먹, has the vowel, actually it doesn't matter what vowel it has. It's neither a nor o vowel, so you need to add 없어요 to the stem 먹 anyway. The last letter of the stem, 먹, has a final consonant, so you cannot combine 먹 and sound together. Next, 뛰다, which is the base form of the verb to run or to jump in Korean. The stem is 뛰, and it has 위 vowel, so you add 없어요 to put the predicate in the past tense. 뛰었어요. The last letter of the stem, 뛰, doesn't have a final consonant, but you cannot make a legitimate compound vowel with the combination of 위 vowel and the vowel. So you cannot combine the 뛰 sound and the sound together. So it's just 뛰었어요. Next, 고치다, which means to fix or to repair in Korean. What is the stem? Yes, 고치 is the stem. And the last letter of the stem is 치 with e vowel. Thus you add 없어요. Because the last letter of the stem doesn't have a final consonant, you need to combine the 치 sound with sound, and it becomes 첫. So it's not 고치었어요, but it's 고쳤어요. You know what? Actually, 고치었어요 sounds fine, but I strongly recommend you should always try to combine the last letter of the stem with a, or at, sound. So, 고쳤어요. I fixed, I repaired. Next, 걷다, the base form of the verb to walk. The stem is 걷 with a vowel, so you add 없어요 to put it in the past tense. The last letter of the stem has a final consonant, so it cannot be combined with sound. However, you need to apply this irregular conjugation rule that you learned in the previous lesson. When the stem of this verb 걷다 meets the round empty iung consonant, the final d consonant turns into the l consonant. So it's not 걷었어요, but it must be 걸었어요, 걸었어요. As I said, this is not a universal rule. You need to memorize each verb conjugates irregularly one by one independently. Next, 듣다, the base form of the verb to listen or to hear. The same irregular conjugation rule can be applied to this verb as well. The stem is 듣 with the vowel, so you add 없어요 to put it in the past tense. But it's not 듣었어요. It must be 들었어요. 들었어요. The same rule. Final d consonant turns into the final l consonant when it meets the round empty iung consonant in the next block. Got it? Great. Now let's see some examples with 하다. 하다 turns into 해요 in the present simple tense, right? In the past simple tense, it turns into 했어요. You can simply think the entire 하다 part turns into 했어요. The base form of the verb to swim in Korean is 수영하다. So it turns into 수영했어요 in the past tense. To love, 사랑하다 turns into 사랑했어요. To drive, 운전하다 turns into 운전했어요. To like, 좋아하다 turns into 좋아했어요. So easy. Let's learn how to make the past continuous tense as though you say, I was doing something. This is almost the same as the present continuous tense that you learned. You just need to add a past tense indicator. Let's use the verb 걷다, to walk, again. In order to put the stem in the present continuous tense, you basically need to add 고 있어요, right? 걷고 있어요. In order to put the stem in the past continuous tense, you add the past tense indicator 엇 to the stem it of the 있어요 part. So it was 고 있어요 in the present continuous tense, and it is 고 있었어요 in the past continuous tense. The stem 걷 plus 고 있었어요. 걷고 있었어요. 걷고 있었어요. Please see the actual pronunciation of the it, ot, or yo part. The sound linking rule is applied twice here. It, ot, or yo is naturally pronounced 있었어요. Let's see one example. A asked, what were you doing? B answered, I was walking. 저 was walking. 걷고 있었어요. 저 걷고 있었어요. I was walking. Now you know the present simple tense, present continuous tense, past tense, and past continuous tense. You will soon learn the future tense, no worries. I think we can move on to lesson 4, and in lesson 4, we'll mostly talk about various particles and different sentence patterns. I didn't teach a lot of things that I taught in my original lesson 3, but no worries at all. I'll teach you all of them probably in lesson 4 or in my future YouTube lessons. Okay then, see you in lesson 4.